Okay, hello everyone. We are here super excited to have Luke with us, dev advocate from Celestia, a good friend that is joining us from Thailand, the other part of the world. And thank you for having the time, Luke, for us. How are you doing today?
Good, really good. Thanks for making time for me. Really
Thank,
appreciate it.
thank you so much. And I think the Latam community is going little by little growing and understanding what Celestia does and why this Camp Mamo and the Mammothon are a huge opportunity. I want to thank to everyone that is joining us today. Look, we are so excited to having you here. Could you please introduce yourself a little bit about your journey as a dev and how you got into Celestia and modularity?
So I always loved computers. Like I just was a young I grew up in the 80s and in the time when, computers were expensive and hard to get and no one really knew what to do with
And
them. I'd
big.
always just love yes, and big and and yeah, very, very nerdy. I think now it's become mainstream and it's like if you tell your parents you want to be a computer programmer, they think, okay, that's a good job. But back then people were like, what's a computer programmer? And it was even hard to learn this stuff. So there was no internet to teach you. There was no books to teach you. You just had to kind of learn on your own. I mean, there were books, but they were really expensive. And you could borrow them from the library if the library had them, but often the library wouldn't even have them because I lived in a small town. Like sometimes they'd have to send away for a book from the city to come down. Um, but the books were all like $100, so of course my mom couldn't buy them. Um, but I slowly taught myself how to program using like just computer magazines and stuff, and I loved it. It was always my life. I started in 90 96, 1996. I dropped out of school and moved to San Francisco because the internet was happening. Like now we talk about web 1, web 2, web 3, but at the time it was just the internet.
The
And
internet, yeah.
yeah, the internet. And do you have a web page? Are you on the World Wide Web? And it was funny because that time in San Francisco was really unique because all of us there working in San Francisco, we knew the internet was going to be the future,
Mm.
and everybody on the outside didn't really believe us, like especially as further and further away from San Francisco. People were like, why would you need this? We've got a fax machine, or we don't need all this stuff. What purpose does it serve? But we knew it was the future. And it was really exciting to be part of that. It was exciting to be there in San Francisco thinking like in 20 years and 30 years and 40 years we're going to look back on this period of time and realize the significance of it. um, and it was funny, I
Hey,
always thought this.
it feels familiar. It feels familiar with the blockchain world at the moment.
Well, that's where my story's going. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. um, but yeah, so then I always thought my whole life would be computers, and then I had a bit of a crisis around 2004, and I just said, "Fuck this shit! I hate sitting all day. I hate this bullshit. I'm gonna go teach yoga." And I became a yoga teacher. Actually, when I was in Costa Rica to study for a yoga retreat.
oh, that's why.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I studied yoga. I went to India to study yoga and Sanskrit. And on my way home from India, I stopped here in Bangkok. I met
Mm.
someone who offered me a job, and I thought it would be like a 1 year, 2 year, first experience living in a foreign country, learn a new language, a new culture. Um, but then I just stayed. I stayed for it's been 20 years now. Um, and I did a lot of things. I started a video production company. I did a lot of
Mm.
TV work. I ended up going back to school, getting a degree here, just kind of for fun. But then COVID happened and lockdown happened. And I
Mm.
had this period of 6 months where I couldn't work, like all the ways I was making money, the government closed. And so I started to think logically about my future that, okay, like the way I've been making money may not exist in the future. So I need to find new ways to make money. And I taught myself React and I thought, oh, this is kind of fun. Maybe I'll just get a job making websites and sit on the beach all day. And then I just started to learn about blockchains. I kind of just thought, well, let's learn about this. I don't have anything else to do. And the deeper I got into it, I started to realize two things. One, I got excited about how little I knew. Like when you think about Web 2 architectures, I understand that. I know how
Mhm.
this client server database model works. And that all makes sense to me. But when I started to think about distributed systems and consensus, I was just like, fuck, I don't know anything. And I was excited about how little I knew because that meant there was so much to learn. And then I started to have flashbacks, what Carla said. I started to realize that it, it's just like it was in the 90s, that the work we're doing now is going to be the future of computing. And just like in the 90s, I was making Java applets and I thought, okay, Java applets are going to be the way. And I was wrong, obviously. Um, and who knows which blockchain is going to win? Who knows which, sometimes the best tech wins, sometimes the best marketing wins, who knows?
Mm.
But I think we all know in our hearts that the future is blockchains. The future is distributed systems, especially with the way governments are going around this world, with censorship, with repressive regimes. That the only future that's possible is blockchains. And so I'm just like, shit, man, I got to be a part of this again. I did it once when I
You
was
jump in
20. I'm going to
again.
do it again now that I'm 50. Yeah, time for round two. So that's my long story.
That's a hell of a story, and it's fun. Thank you for sharing it, and I think that's fantastic because it merges a lot of things. It merges the idea that I always say this to people when we talk about blockchain: we are pioneers. You are a pioneer here. You're starting. You're all joining something that is at the starting point. That has too much to offer to humanity, and you have the opportunity to build it, to be part of that, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to feel FOMO. You're here and you're going to be the leaders of this modular revolution. And look, you said that okay, blockchain is it. I mean, is this is going to be the future, but then we end up with all these kind of silos, right? Like big monolithic blockchains, kind of competing with each other in a way. And then it comes modularity, right? And then it comes Celestia also with this narrative. Could you tell us a little bit about that transition and what is that excites you about that is different now?
I mean, when you think about what defines a Web3 application or an application built on crypto rails, it's really just two things. One, it's distributed, so nobody can take it down, it's censorship resistant, and it's verifiable. You have the state machine tracking, the state of something, and anybody can verify that changes to that are valid. And it's really just those two things. It's verifiable and it's distributed, and that's a Web3 application. Um, you can build a Web3 application on Ethereum, but you work within the confines of the EVM, which is obviously very limiting. Same thing with Solana. You can work within the confines of the SVM, which is very limiting. What Celestia does is it changes that mindset, and we say, okay, use Celestia data availability to make sure that your app is distributed and verifiable, and then do whatever else you want. Like build with an EVM if you want to, use off-chain logic if you want to, and introduce some completely new VM if you want to. All that stuff is possible. We just provide the infrastructure so that once you've done your computations, you can make proof of those computations verifiable and distributed. And that's one of the things that really excited me about Celestia, because the EVM is obviously very limiting what you can do. Smart contracts can only hold so much state. Um, they can only be so big. But with Celestia, there really are no limits. That we have this infrastructure so that you can make your stuff verifiable, and then you just let your creativity run wild. And I think for some people at first, they have a hard time getting their head around
Mm.
this model. They're so used to thinking, okay, if I'm building for Web3, I need to write a smart contract and have a token or an NFT or all these things. And we're saying, no, you don't need any of that stuff. It's there if you want it, but you need whatever you need. Your application, you should sit down, plan your application, think about what it needs, and then use Celestia to ensure that it's distributed and verifiable.
And I think you said that. I mean, I think at the beginning it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around the idea of Celeste just being the base. You have that, and then you don't
Yeah.
need to worry about where your data is anymore. What is deep for people that has some people is coming to this Camp Mamo and Mammothon uh, as their first contact with blockchain, and some people is coming with some experience. They already are builders or they already are devs. For someone that already has some experience, what is different in terms of building on Celestia, comparing it to building in another ecosystem?
Freedom. It really boils down to freedom, that you have complete freedom to choose your execution environment, to choose your VM, to build how you want. But I guess that too can sometimes come with confusion. Like we have this slogan, build whatever. And I don't know, sometimes I think it's a good slogan, sometimes I think it's not. Um, and the reason I think it's a great slogan is because people think, oh, okay, cool, I can do whatever, there are no limits. But the reason sometimes I think it's not a good slogan is because it by giving people, when you're presented with infinite choice, you can often just like not know what to do. You know, like when you
Mm,
go into a restaurant that has a huge menu with like 50 items and you're like,
yeah.
I don't know what to pick. They all look good, type of thing.
Paralysis. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you get this and so then sometimes when people think build whatever, there's this paralysis, like, well, I don't know where to start. Um, and s- but and and so that's what we attempt to solve in Camp Mammo. Like week one of Camp Mammo, they're just 20 to 30-minute lectures each day where you learn something about what Celestia is now, what our technology is now, and also where we're going to be by the end of the year. So we talk about our growth to larger blocks and new bridging solutions. And then weeks 2, 3, and 4, we've taken a total of 5 stacks. And in weeks 2, 3, 4, we'll talk you through what that stack is. We'll give you a demo project that we built, and then you just get a
Hmm.
small homework assignment where you have to add a new feature, do something else. The homework should probably take anywhere from 1 to 5 hours, depending on how much experience you have. Um, and we set this up so that people can get a feel for the different stacks. You'll build on Dojo, which is a gaming framework.
Mm.
You'll build using Chopin, which just is a framework to take any Next.js app and make it verifiable. Um, you'll work with Rollkit, Evolve, which allows you to spin up your own chain, your own rollup. So there are all these we've selected 5 different stacks to give you a feel for the options I'm building with Celestia. Because I do agree that it can be, yeah, paralysis, overwhelming and confusing to be presented with, 50 choices and saying, oh yeah, you can pick whatever you want. And you're like, yeah, but I don't know.
But but I think it's fantastic that you decided to create the Camp Mamo, and that's why we are here, because we know that for the first hackathon, and some of the people here that participated in the first hackathon, they had to jump in and, as you said, just see all the opportunities, and like some of them were actually really confused at the beginning. But I think the Camp Mamo is actually that, right? The opportunity to learn about the partners, to learn about what is that you can do, and get inspiration to create the project, right? What will you be your advice for people that is joining Camp Mamo and to take full advantage of it?
um, Take your time, go slowly.
Mm.
Um, the videos are short, they're, I'd say 20 to 40 minutes, most of them around 30 minutes, but watch them 2 or 3 times if you don't understand stuff. Get active in the Discord. If there's something you don't understand, anything, even super, super small, ask a question in the Discord, and we're there to help you. Um, the videos all have Spanish subtitles. Thank you to Kumalo.
Yay!
Um,
Thank you,
because
Sam.
we
Simon.
yeah, we realize that um, we're really committed to international communities. Like we know, I think so many people talk about getting the next million devs, but then they're only everything is all in English, all in English. And so we
Hmm.
we we had a long talk at Celestia. Like, listen, if we're going to get the next million devs, we need to reach people where they are in their language. We can't require everybody to learn English because, like, I mean, this shit's complicated. Like, it's sometimes blockchain
It is
technology is
complicating
really
enough.
complicated.
Yes.
Yeah, it's complicated enough. And it's like if you're learning React or Next.js, okay, whatever, you can figure that out. But this is like
Yeah.
we need you to understand consensus and this deep stuff, and it's really fucking complicated. And um, it's not always the English that people learn when they're learning English in high school or college or whatever. So we there's subtitles in, well, Spanish, of course, Ukrainian, Thai, Vietnamese, Japanese, Turkish, I don't
Ooh.
know, a couple more. Yeah, we total 7 different subtitles. And also the English subtitles are there, but I've manually edited them. Sometimes I think, at least for me, I've learned a lot of languages, and I often find it's easy for me to, if I listen in that language, if I'm watching TV and watch and have subtitles in the same language, I find that very much easier for my brain than just listening. Um, so just so you know, if the English subtitles too have been edited so that proper nouns and all these blockchain terms are actually used correctly, and it's not just a machine generated shit.
That is fantastic, and I think also the effort that Sam and Imon are doing to support the Latam community, and we have also a Telegram group that everyone that wants to support, join and have some also support in Spanish and in Portuguese, you will be able to do that. And I think that's really important to not only because the content is not in our language, but because maybe we can find friends that are from Latam, build things together that make sense for our region too, and offer that to the world. I think that it's really powerful. Uh,
That's a
what
big point
exact?
because, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, go.
Well,
I was
Mammothon
going to
requires
ask you.
teams. Oh yeah, one of the things
Oh,
about what was unique about Mammothon is we require teams,
mhm,
3 to 5 teams, and the reason we required teams is because we call it a hackathon, but it's really like a mix of a hackathon and an incubator and
mm,
and a whole bunch of other things. Because what we view Mammothon as is we want it to be a factory that produces startups, and that's why we gave $25,000 to each winning team, because we thought, okay, 25 grand, it is the type of money you could use to, at least in a lot of parts of the world, run your startup for 6 months or a year. Um, three of the teams, we had 11 winners. Three of those winners have already gotten VC funding. So you can see that we have we have VCs who are interested in funding stuff built on
mhm.
Celestia. Um, and that's the thing. I think use Camp Mamo to learn about Celestia and figure out what you find interesting, but also use Camp Mamo to start making friends and building a team. And think about building a team the same way you think about planning a company. Don't just pick your friends who all have the same skills as you. If you're a smart contract programmer, find a front end programmer, find
Yeah,
somebody who understands biz dev. Like
sound
that's the type of
design.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah, or designer. Like find people who have skills that you don't. Um, which I think is sometimes, we get caught in this circle of like, we're good at something, and because we're good at something, we talk to people who are good at that, and we start to have friends that are all good at something. So we might, I'm a smart contract programmer. I know 10 smart contract programmers. That's not what you want. You want to find team members who know how to do things that you don't.
definitely. And I
Because
think,
Mammothon 2 is coming right after
and
this.
please, let's just recap for everyone here. So we have Camp Mamo, which is 1 month starting this week in August. It's going to go for 4 weeks to learn all the basics and meet your people and build something and get the ideas started. Then in October, we will have Mammothon, right? Is
Yeah,
that correct?
late September, early October. We're not sure yet,
Okay.
but somewhere around there.
End of September, October. So you'll have some time to actually think the project that excites you, that makes sense, and pick the stack and pick the tools, right? What what do you think, Luke? Is people that participate in Camp Mamo, are they going to have any advantage for the Mammothon?
They're going to have huge advantage for the Mammothon. Huge advantage because you guys will start Mammothon on day one with a team, an idea, and you'll already understand Celestia. Whereas everybody else will be starting on Mammothon day one, and they'll try to figure out idea, a
What?
team
Yeah,
members, all this stuff. But you'll be ready to go, so you'll have a
yeah,
huge advantage if you use the time wisely.
definitely. And you already said some of the ideas, but I want to go deeper into how to pick or how to create a great team and pick a good idea for the Mammothon. I don't know what other advice can we give people on that.
I think I like what you said about creating an application that makes sense for your community, your people. Um, and I tell people this all the time, like regardless of whether it's Mammothon or just you want to create a startup in general, that you want to solve a problem that you have. So something that you face, because you're going to understand that problem really, really well. Build
Mhm.
a, and you'll probably know people who have, like if you have this problem, other people probably will too. Um, and there's so many examples. I mean, Airbnb started as a service where you could rent an air mattress on people's floors, and it only existed when when conferences happen in cities, often the hotels are sold out. So they started Airbnb just as a service to find a place to stay when a conference was in town. So they'd spin up, there's a big conference happening, the hotels were all booked, you could use Airbnb to find someone's house to stay at. That was it. That was the whole thing in the
That was the
beginning.
whole point.
And then it scaled up to this massive multi-billion-dollar company we have now.
Mhm.
Facebook too. Remember in the beginning of Facebook, it was just at universities. Like first it was just Harvard, and they slowly expanded to universities. But if you didn't have a .edu email address, you couldn't even log into Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, and so when
But
people pick
that is
ideas,
a great insight. I mean, pick something small to start. It's going to
yep,
probably change a lot over the journey, but something that you can prove, that you can test with people that you know.
yep, and yeah, like Netflix.
Same as Netflix,
I don't
yeah.
know if people remember Netflix used to mail a DVD to your house. I don't know if anyone, I don't know if they had in Costa Rica, but at least in the US
No,
when it launched,
but we have
they
heard
would mail
stories
you.
about that.
Yeah, they would come in a little red envelope, and it was so exciting because you had a DVD. Didn't have to go to Blockbuster anymore. Um, and So that's it. When you solve a small problem, one, you know that problem deeply. So you know
Mhm.
exactly what it is. You're not interviewing people, you're not figuring out, you're solving a problem that you have. But you also probably know who your users are. Like if you think, okay, I need a way to I don't know, buy train tickets online to go like a long journey, or just something very simple, you probably know 10 people who have that problem too. And if you come to us in Mammothon, because we look holistically at the whole application. So our Mammothon competition in October, if it ends and one team says, okay, we built this great product, another team says, oh, we built a really similar product and we already have 15 users actively using it, well, you can obviously see who's going to win. And if you know a problem well, you probably know people who have that problem and you
Mhm.
can pull them into your user base. And you don't need a lot of users to start. Just getting 10 users using your product once a day or once a week, that's huge.
That's a huge proof of traction. I want to just point that out. I mean, say that again. Say, solve a real problem to real people, and then you will have a huge advantage over any other thing. That's a huge hack, right? It's like
Yep.
real problems. And also, I feel sometimes in hackathons and hacker houses and things like this, people sometimes feel the pressure to build something like super sophisticated, or something super like innovative. And yes, you can innovate, but if you choose something that is real, that real people will use, that is super innovative in Web3, in blockchain. So do that.
Yep. And we don't need more
We don't need
NFT
more.
projects. We don't need
Thank you.
all these all this. There's so much stuff that's out there. DeFi. I don't know, maybe you can innovate in DeFi, but it's a lot of it's been done already. So we don't need it. Like, and the neat thing about Celestia is because you can work anyway, it's very easy to take traditional Web 2 apps and make them verifiable. With the Chopin framework, it takes like
Mhm.
5 minutes to do. So think about solving traditional Web 2 problems,
Mhm.
but in a distributed way.
In a distributed way. Uh, Luis, you have a question? People, we are here with Luke. If you have any question, you can use the chat. You can raise your hand. Please feel free to do it. Luis.
Sure. Thank you, Carlo. Look, one question, because this is the second time that you mentioned that the transaction will be verifiable, right? Of course, it's part of the blockchain features. But one thing that I noticed, I call ABCDE. For me, there's 5 industries will change the world. There's AI, blockchain, cloud computing, data analytics, and energy. And the biggest issue in AI, right, is authentication, right? If it is real or not, if it is, how you call, you are the real owner of that content, or you actually just copy paste something from someone else. If I'm the first copying something that is in Web2, I put it in the Web3, right? And it becomes verifiable and it will be the first in Celestia. how can I authenticate that I'm the content creator? How can I authenticate the I'm the real owner of itself? You know what I'm saying? Because it's AI generated. So
Well, I mean, that's what you have to figure out. Celestia can help you verify that, you know, we can verify that Luis posted a certain piece of
Yep.
data at a certain time.
Yep.
But how do you verify that somebody didn't post that before you? That's maybe that's
in
your
Web3
project.
and Web2, because as I was mentioned to you before, the platform that I'm trying to work right now is stories with AI, right? And everyone keep telling me, okay, how do I know that the AI is not getting the information of a book, transforming a little bit so there's no copyright issues? And then if you're going to put it as a blockchain, because my trigger is stories of humans enhanced by AI, protected by blockchain, right? That's the slogan. And if we are going to get that, how we can confirm that because I want to have a proof of content creation or something like that. But if it is a problem, we can work it out together. I'm going to keep pushing it because I think it's something important that solves the issue of deepfake, right? For me, blockchain is the solution of deepfakes in AI.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is that a lot of AIs now are talking about accountability and training data, so that and there's even talk in Europe, it may become the law that AIs may have to say, okay, this comes from this training data, if that's possible. And it sounds like that's sort of the direction you need to walk in, that maybe it means you need to train a custom LLM and track what data and use Celestia. So you could train an LLM on
From the
stories.
start. Yep. I think that we lose Luke.
Yeah, no.
To prove what training data was used for that LLM.
He's coming back. He's back.
Look, we lost you
Yeah,
for a couple
yeah.
of
So it's really
seconds.
just, oh, okay. So it's really just about, you know, maybe one option is to train a custom LLM on data that is not, you know, that's not copyrighted, and then
Yep.
use Celestia to prove what training data was sent into the LLM. So you could say, okay, we built this custom LLM. It's not going to steal any data because this is all the training data we've put into it, type of thing.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank you
provide the
for-
tools. You've got to figure out the infrastructure, but the tools are here.
And thank you, Luis. Could you share with us, look, some ideas that maybe were interesting from the last hackathon or the last Mammothon, or some idea that you think will be interesting, or that you could even, I don't know, create yourself if you will be participating in the Mammothon. Things to inspire people here.
You know, I think what's here is just is much more localized problems, much more localized solutions that we're looking for, and kind of traditional Web 2 sort of solutions. You know, that you'd have these Web 2 ideas.
Like,
But
think of the best apps that you use. How can those apps be, I mean, rebuilt on top of Celestia, something like that?
yeah, or why should they be rebuilt? Like, find the one that actually makes sense. Not everything needs to be, you know, decentralized like this. But to me personally, what I find interesting too are local solutions. You know, there are billions of people in the world, and you don't need to make an app for the whole world. And there's only going to be so many Facebooks, there's only going to be so many Airbnbs in the world. But there's going to be a lot of apps that have 100,000 users, or 500,000 users, or 50,000 users. And those apps can still make a lot of money. And a lot of those apps are only going to make sense in a certain geography, or sometimes in a certain interest group. Like, I'm really into electronic music and synthesizers, and there's all these websites and all these places that I go to read about synthesizers, and there are all these online communities for synthesizers. And we're a small group of people. I mean, there's only probably maybe there are not very many people that are like nerdy into synths, but we have our environment to hang out and to talk about this stuff.
But you have committed people to the
Yes,
topic and share values.
people who spend hours a day reading about it, learning about it, who spend money every month on this stuff. And that's it. When you're part of a community, whether it's, I don't know, dog lovers or nature walkers or photography people, you understand the needs of that community. And I think there's going to be a lot of interesting projects, special built for these small communities. And by
Fox,
small, it
what
could be 10, it could be 10,000.
Yeah, Fox, what Lux is saying and sharing with us is gold, and that's actually a key to actually having a successful project is connection with the people, with the user, ask the user what they need, and then go and solve it.
Yep.
We have some
And
questions, Manu and I think Sebastian afterwards. Manu.
Okay, well, hello guys. So happy
Hola.
to be here. Thank you, Luke. Nice to have you here and hear you, listen to your expertise and everything that you actually in the past Mammothon where we were participating, we got a lot of feedback from you, and that's something that we continue keeping as a good resource. So I appreciate that. One of my questions is when it comes to entertainment, let's talk about games. You mentioned that there is a real world problem that we are trying to solve sometimes with our applications. And but what happens with entertainment, with games? If there is any option, any idea, they might spark something that can be a game changer when it comes to games. Is there still some space for that as well? I see that there are many games in blockchain and they make a lot of millions and sometimes, but when it comes to that, is this something still that we have room for building?
one of the winners of the first Mammothon was a game, um, Evolute Mage Duel. And not only did they win Mammothon, but they got venture funding to continue building their game. So, I mean, 3 teams got funding, and one of them was a game. And you'll learn about, they built on the Dojo stack, which you'll learn about next week in Mammothon. Dojo is really good for turn-based games, where each person needs anywhere from like 1 to 5 seconds to make a turn. It's not great for these really fast first-person shooter things that you need constant updating, but it's great for, I mean, a simple option would be poker or blackjack, but like any sort of board game or any type of thing where there's an alternating of turns and each turn takes, a couple of seconds. You think
Like
about it,
an
you move on a board, like
like
chess,
an
like
RPG,
something like, yeah, yeah,
RPG game. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And what's neat about Dojo is that, well, a couple things, and you'll learn this next week, is the technology abstracts a lot of the blockchain stuff, so you don't actually need to know a lot of how it works. It just sort of works for you. But Dojo also does a lot to help you get users for your game. They have a lot of game jams where you can build things and get instant audience. And they also have this I forget what it's called, cartridge or something. It's like their ecosystem portal for games. So once you built a game, you can publish it to their portal, and there's lots of other games in their portal, so it's very easy to see. So yeah, there is, I think, room for innovation in blockchain games, especially slower turn-based games.
Well, as a matter of fact, there is a game. Actually, I'm part of another project where we are. Yes, they use Starnet technology. They use Cartridge. They use also Dojo as a base framework. And now that you mentioned that, for that project to participate in the Mammothon, is there any chance as well? Since it's being
Like
already
something that already
contributed?
exists. Something
Yes,
that already exists.
it's being built already.
That I don't know, but I'll find out for you. I don't.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what we've. Well, I mean, so 2 things. One, what Mammothon was unique that we had teams, but also unique that we gave people ideas. We said, okay, here's 30 ideas, pick one. But there's a lot of room to make the idea your own. Like the game that won, I think the idea was create a turn-based checkers game, and they created something with amazing graphics, completely different, but it was still this turn-based game, roughly like checkers. And so I don't think we have a policy on pre-existing app. I don't know. I will get back to you. I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Just
maybe,
oh, sorry, Carla. Go ahead.
go.
Excuse me.
No, but maybe, I mean, in terms of coming to the hackathon or coming to the Mamo with something that you already built, maybe, and this is also a question for Luke, we can have the answer later, but maybe you can imagine a new feature or a new version of it that you can exclusively build during the Mammothon, and that
Exactly,
like a
exactly.
unique thing. Maybe.
We don't no that's a good idea. We don't want to show exactly what we have built so far and just go home.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we know that there is a lot
Or
of
something
room.
that creates that uses uniquely something that is available on the Celestia
That's
ecosystem.
right. And of course, taking advantage of a Celestia technology, this is we already know that we did it in the past, and with the team, we are thinking about options of implementing a Celestia technology as part of the game. So the idea is to make a little switch or upgrade, so we can be able to as well
Spice it up a
provide
little bit.
Yeah.
exactly. So
Manu, just one comment from the previous Mammothon that we had. Luke is correct. The last time we have a couple of tracks, and I took the track of the games, right? They actually tell us, okay, do a snake or do a Tetris game. And then it was with a partner called Para, right? And when we talked with Para team, I was saying, okay, this is fine, but I want to do the other type of game. And they were excited and they were flexible. So maybe it's not just what Celestia is suggesting, which is, of course, very important, but also what the other partners and sponsors recommend and talk to them. At least my experience was they were very friendly, they were very flexible. They recommend and keep communication with them, show what you're doing, because that's my lesson learned from the last time. I just did my communication during the hackathon as an advice, doing before, during, and after, right, with the partners. I think that was a key lesson learned that I took from the previous one.
Build a
Yep.
connection and a
yes,
relationship.
that's a good feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuel. Sebastián, ¿tenías alguna pregunta? Sebastián, do you have a question? Yes.
Yeah. The first is hello everyone. I am very happy to stay here.
So good
Thank
to have you.
you. Yeah. Thank you, Luke, Carla, Mon, and Sammy for create this space. It's very amazing to meet you, Luke. Well, after the Mammothon one, my life changed a lot. Thank you for that, Luke, for trusting Costa Rica. That is amazing. Yeah. Well, I have a trick question for you. Well, the first question is, what is the most valuable insight or skill participants can take away from the Camp Mamo to better prepare for the Mammothon 2 and future contributions to the Celestia ecosystem?
I think with Camp Mamo, you really just take your time understanding all these different stacks. Because in weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll learn about 5 different stacks. Take your time, learn about them, so that when you get to Mammothon, you know what you want to do. Like, I think, and that's the most important thing. Like, try to learn as much as possible. Like, even if you don't like games, pay attention during Dojo, because maybe you can use Dojo stack for something else. Or even like, there, pay attention to all the stacks, even if you think it's not what you want to do, because that's the cool thing about technology. You can use it any way you want. And if you finish this month with a really good idea of what you want, what technology you want to use, how you want to build on Celestia, and also who you want to work with. When Mammothon starts next month or in 2 months, you're going to be ahead of the game and ready to go. So I
Okay,
would say
okay.
just imagine you're like in university and you have to learn whatever they're teaching you. So learn what they're teaching you, what we teach, and go deep. Ask lots of questions, try new things, try weird things. It's Mammothon isn't we don't need a lot of your time, an hour a day maybe, but use the time wisely. And if you have extra time, go deep, ask questions, make connections.
Yeah. It's like when Manu says small ideas can become a huge success. Well, I try to search that ideas and well, the other question is, well, from Celestia perspective, what kinds of project of solutions show the greatest potential within the modular blockchain space, especially those emerging from Latin communities?
The ones that to me show the most potential are the ones with users. And so I really like, this is why I talked about solve a problem you have that maybe your friends have too. Because if you can end Mammothon with saying, okay, here's an app I built, and here are 5 people who use my app every day, or here are 5 people who use this once a week, that's going to be huge. 10 people who use our app, that's going to be huge. So don't think about just what you're building, but think about who can actually use it. And if possible, by the end of Mammothon, get users, get real users. Even if it's just your friends or like your mom or anybody, like somebody who really needs this app.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that question
Onboarding
is,
our mothers to Web3. That's a key.
yeah, yeah, of course.
I mean, if you build something your mom wants, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this question is for, well, I saw the video from the Mammothon one about the pitch.
Uh-huh.
Well, in your view, what is the single most important element that makes a project pitch stand out during a hackathon or demo day?
You know, again,
Good question.
it's returning to what I said before, that you're prove to us that you're solving a real problem. So prove to us that it's a problem that and because that's the thing, when you're solving smaller problems that exist within your country or your community, people on the outside may not even know that's a real problem. Like we and you know, may not exist in another country, just the way the systems are set up. So really, in that pitch, prove to us that you are solving a real problem. You know, you could say, no naked mammoth. There can be naked mammoths if you want, you know. Yes.
They are
I'm all
nice.
for
I like them.
nudity. Yes,
Really
go for it. Yeah. Mammoth at the nude beach.
I mean,
Uh,
what Luke is saying, folks, is you could have the best documentation, you could have the best UX, UI, you could have, but if no one is using your app,
yep,
not good.
Yeah, it's
that's
so
it.
It needs to
complicated
be
that.
solving. It needs to be solving something real for real people.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
And
have
doing
a
agree.
lot
something
of time
different.
to think that idea. A lot of 2 months, I think.
Yeah,
But
like, but
Time.
you don't want to say, oh, we just copied Instagram or we just copied Facebook. Like, we don't want to see that. We want to say,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
we built something that solves a real problem. And
And
that's it. The
look,
pitch. I would think the pitch, you've got 3 minutes, right? So I would start the
yeah,
pitch to say, okay, this is a real problem. Like the very first 30 seconds of your pitch should hook the viewer and make them think, okay, this is a real problem. Don't bother
mhm,
introducing your team. You know, sometimes you see these pitch videos with like 6 people, they introduce themselves, and like, you know, judges are going to watch 100 videos. They're not going to remember
yeah.
anybody. So we don't need to know your name. We don't need to know anything. You just dive in and like let us know that you have a problem that you solved.
yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. I
Thank
take
you.
the notes and I'm really happy to attend and well to meet you and well in the future contribute more and create a lot of projects. Yeah, in Celestia.
Yay.
Cool.
Thank you, Sebastian. So good to have you, and thank you for the questions. Look, I think that's the main message. I love that you were so. I mean, you were insisting so much in that. Um, there are sometimes maybe apart from not solving a problem, what other errors could is usually people usually do when starting to build on Celestia? Anything that we need to avoid?
No, nothing. I mean, it's hard to say. There's so many different stacks and ways to build. So it's hard to say things you should avoid. But I think for the hackathon thing, I mean, another tip is just make sure you have good documentation. It's easy to read.
Mhm.
Um, ask for feedback. Like last time I gave feedback on people's videos, and I'll be doing that again. Documentation too. Like, don't be afraid to ask me to read your docs
Mhm.
and give you feedback on it. That's what me and Josh and Gabriel. We just hired a new DevRel in Brazil, so Gabriel is
Oh,
our third DevRel.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So there are 3 of us now on the team. So don't be afraid to ask us for feedback and advice, and ask early. Like start asking for feedback as soon as you need it, because I think last time I offered feedback and I got it for most people, but there were some people who were like asking like 2 days before, and we didn't, there was too hard to find a time. So definitely ask early. Yeah. And build a relationship with the devs. Oh, look at that old picture.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you get a
that was
different hairstyle that time.
Yeah, I change my hair all the time.
I'm missing
The
that.
pink era. That was the pink era. Something that people always, I mean, you already said a little bit about this, but there is Camp Mamo, we are going to learn. Then it comes the Mammothon, we are going to build. What comes next? What opportunities are after the Mammothon for the teams to connect, maybe with partners, with maybe with funders? What is kind of the journey for people building on Celestia?
So 3 teams from Mammothon got venture funding, and we're working with venture capital who want to invest in projects on Celestia. So I mean that's really the next phase, and then just continuing your app, not stopping it, not moving on to the next hackathon, but really doubling down, building your app, trying to get users.
And build a startup, build a business, something that brings value to people, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
the goal.
yeah.
That should be the goal.
Yeah, that's it. We want to create companies, startups. Simple.
Yeah. And we
Ask
want
for help. Ask for as much help as you need.
and we want those startups to be built from Latin America. We would love to see you winning some of those prizes. We would love to see you solving many, many, many problems. And we are here to support you. Any other question, Fox? I thank you, Luke. I mean, we are already on the hour. We want to respect everyone's time here. But if there's any other pressing question, we can.
And if not, just ask in Discord. Tag me in Discord.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
the Camp Mamo channel in Discord, I'm hanging out in all month. So just you can always ask me later.
Okay, Manu, last question. Go.
Well, actually, it's just more than is a feedback. Not a feedback. It's just a comment. I can agree with what Luke said. Just for the record, with our previous project, we were so close to get funded. We were having conversations with people from Celestia directly. We created a couple of chats, and I think we just needed a little kick with our project. And last conversation, I believe, in space with X with I forget it, with a Cumulo team, they mentioned that they wanted to just, or perhaps the failing thing for those projects was that we didn't have a product to be used. Everything was pretty cool. Technology was happening something around
an MVP, something functional.
Exactly. So I think we just need a little push and see if perhaps shipping that could have made a big difference. So I just wanted to say everything was real. What Luke was saying, we were having these conversations, and perhaps we could tell another story, but that's how it is.
So you're saying that the opportunity is there if you build something real, put in front of people.
Exactly.
There's founders in Celestia. There's people that is eager to support your project, if your project actually makes it.
Big time, yes, big time. There are people interested in your projects and your ideas, and I can prove as well that with having couple of people validating your project, using your project, your ideas, can make a big difference. So everything can change just for just in a little wink. And well, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Mano.
Cool.
Thank you.
Look,
any final words? Any final advice?
Clear your calendars, learn as much as possible. I think sometimes you sacrifice early, you don't go out and see your friends, you don't go out partying on the weekend. Spend this month heads down, learning, making connections, getting ready for next month. And you will be in a great place when Mammothon starts.
Fantastic.
And again, really make connections, hang out in Discord, meet people, talk to me and everybody else from the Celestia team, make sure people know your name, they know your project, know what you're building. create that personal relationship.
So now you know, do that, and
Yeah.
we can't wait to see what you're going to build.
Vale,
Thank
nos
you,
vemos en el
Luke.
Discord.
Nos vemos. Thank you, Luke.
Vemos.
Thank you, Sammy, Mon, Leandro,
Thank you,
Sebastián,
Sammy. Thank you, Mom.
Muchas
Leo.
gracias.
Adiós.
Adiós.
Thank you,
Chao.
guys.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Gracias.
Ciao, Sammy. Take care.